is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
Another two-man pod this week. We've got no new games to talk about this week, so we can talk about this week's new release, Micah. Singular. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2 comes out on the Nintendo Switch. I had no idea that they were making a second Curse of the Moon. Now, for those of you that don't know, Curse of the Moon is the Bloodstained spin-off that plays more like the 8-bit Castlevania games from back when. I think Castlevania 3 especially was a source of heavy inspiration for Curse of the Moon. Of course, Curse of the Moon came out before the Bloodstained proper actually released. It came out a couple of years ago, and now they made a second one, apparently. So if you're looking for some hardcore 2D old school style Castlevania action, I heard the first one was really good. It's on my wish list, but I never did acquire it. So
yeah, I heard it's good. You know, if you want to experience what we experienced back in the early 80s, then when games were like ridiculously difficult, like they programmed these things with like I think they still had the arcade mentality in mind, where it's just like, let's just cheat to win so that people keep feeding quarters into the machine, but you don't have to feed quarters into this thing.
Do you remember how, so Castlevania 3 came out in 1991, I want to say. I might be off by a year or two either way. I remember being blown away by that game because it actually had, it was the first game that I can recall that had, branching paths in it, where there were choices, when you encountered a new level, where you could go, one route or the other, and that changed, what other levels you would encounter. Throughout the rest of the game. They had multiple characters for the first time in Castlevania that you could use, which was also pretty cool. I still very much remember the clock tower level as being, I don't know, it just stood out in a particular way. It was very cool. Very cool world. That's a great game, Castlevania 3. I don't feel like Castlevania 3 gets enough due as it should, because 1 gets all the spotlight, right? 2 is just one of the weirdest fucking games of all time. So people
I played 2 and was just like, I don't know if I want to play 3. And then I played 4. I played 1, 2, and 4.
Oh, you skipped 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. 3, like I said, 3 was excellent. But yeah, so like I said, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2. For those of you interested, that is the only new release this week. And good thing, because there's a ton of news this week. But first,
go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. Subscribe, hit that bell notification for all of our, I don't know. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. You get to see all the cool stuff that we have in our podcast dungeons.
I spied the Witcher series in book form.
Yes.
Behind Micah. I only know this because my wife also owns the Witcher series, so I'm familiar with what the spines look like on the books.
They're very good books, and I recommend them highly, especially if you're a fan of the games and television shows. Read the books. That's where it started. Just pick up the first one to see if you like it. First one is 6 short stories. It's a real easy read.
Aren't the first 2 books basically what the first season of the Netflix show was, essentially? That's what my wife said.
I haven't watched the first season of the Netflix show yet, just because I've been so busy. But I do know it is a prequel to all of the games, which are based on the books. But I think the games differ from the books just a little bit. It's a lot of early stuff. But the books are really good. And then go on Steam and play the first Witcher is still good. It plays weird, right? Because it plays weird, but it's a good game.
Did I talk about Witcher 3? Because I did start playing it a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's amazing how much that game has actually aged in such a short period of time. It really is. I was not expecting the gameplay to feel so kind of clunky, and my basis of comparison is Horizon. Horizon did kind of the gameplay that Witcher was looking for, but like way better.
So
Not that the game wasn't good, but and like the story drew me in, but I didn't get very far. And I'm like, man, this isn't really fun to play.
So you got to remember, The Witcher started off as a PC game,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of strategy to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
every encounter you had to kind of think through it, and you had to kind of prepare. Like, you know how when people say you give Batman prep time, he can beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what Geralt is, right? Like, if you know you're about to go into like a cave, and these aren't like huge mega encounters either. Like, if you're about to go into a cave to finish a quest, you might want to. The cave is dark, so you're gonna have to drink something that affects your vision, and then you might want to plant traps, and then you have to have the correct sword, because I think metal swords are good for humans, but silver swords are good for or Witcher swords are good for monsters. And you have to kind of know what you're up against. And most of the encounters felt like that, especially in the early games, especially in 1 and parts of 2. You say the combat felt clunky. They dumbed down the combat for the Witcher 3.
We'll see, and the reason that people praise it so much, the gameplay, is because a lot of folks were comparing it to like Skyrim, which is terrible in terms of combat. So I get why it was done favorably, but if you're talking about just third-person open world action adventure games, it is not at the top of the list in terms of that. We have digressed from the ad read majorly.
Go subscribe to all of our shows wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse, Black on Black Cinema. We skipped a week. Sorry. Coming Distractions. We're gonna think of something to do to kind of relaunch Coming Distractions in this COVID-19 era, and the weekly preview episode of Look Forward. And if that's not enough, go to densepixels.com/premium. There, for $5 a month or $50 a year, you get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including the airing of Grievances, which I will try to schedule this week. No Time to Bleed, a new episode is up on Desperado. Jay and I sat down to watch Desperado.
Should have called me. I would have absolutely been down for that.
Oh, I love that movie, man.
I love the second. Like I said, I know Once Upon a Time in Mexico isn't a good movie.
Yeah,
but it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Desperado, though, love it. Desperado is such a man movie. You know what I mean? It's such a guy movie. You know, it's a movie that you would see playing on Spike TV. Remember Spike TV, kids? Of course you don't. You're youngins. The Men with the Golden Tongues. The Men with the Golden Tongues is our spy and James Bond movie review topical show. Hope you don't hear that thunder out there. It is we are recording a new episode next week for the month of July. Upstage conversation where Carrie and a guest talk about musicals that have been turned into films. We'll see if she can we'll see if she wants to amend that, seeing as how one of the biggest musicals of all time is available for everyone to see as long as they pledge fealty to the mouse. And the full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Now, look, this is quite a time that we're living in right now.
It is. They're recording tonight, and I got to say, I'm a little bummed that I can't be on. I have some hot Kanye West takes.
Yo, that dude.
Fire takes.
He can. Speaking of fire takes, he can take a trip into a ball of fire and never come back out because
his face looks like he's been stung by many bees.
Well, what was the name of that kid? What was the name of that movie with Macaulay Culkin? Was it Macaulay Culkin?
My Girl, yeah.
My Girl, yeah. Those are the bees that I want him to get stung by. The My Girl bees. Fuck that guy, man. The full episode of Look Forward Political Podcast is also available when you go to dunspixels.com/premium.
Very good. And like I said, you might want to go with the $50 a year option and save $10 over the course of the year because you're about to be paying more for your video games coming up soon. The gaming world was a kerfluffle. I don't know. People were mad. People were mad because a listing came out. Actually, not even listing. An announcement came out from 2K saying that the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 versions of NBA 2K21 are going to run $69.99 in the US as opposed to the traditional $59.99 price point that's been the standard price point since the PS3 360 era came around. This is not surprising. I think we've been living on borrowed time for the $60 game price point for a couple years at this point. However, I do understand where people are coming from when they're upset. Here's why. So when games first went to $60, DLC wasn't really a thing, and games certainly did cost a lot more to produce in the PS3 360 era than it did in the PS2 original Xbox era. And so I can understand that it's justified. But in this day and age, when you have almost every single game that comes out has some sort of paid content, whether it's expansions after the fact, whether it's microtransactions for skins or in-game currency or loot boxes or what have you. Games have such an opportunity for extra monetization nowadays that it's a much harder pill to swallow, raising the cost of admission for, again, what's going to be the same product as the PS4 and Xbox One version with just enhanced features and capabilities. And you can, and again, I can see the argument from the other side where, obviously extra development costs and it's more difficult to make and more financially resourceful to make. But I don't know. I feel like you need to justify that extra price point, and I don't think that in most cases that they're going to do
it. You're right. They're not. And yeah, I agree with everything you said. The fact that these games are using the mobile game pricing structure and money retention structure is just kind of like I'm getting it from both ends, man. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, "Oh, well, you don't have to do it," but if I don't have to do it, why are you putting it there? It's right. Because you want people to do it. And look, and so this means that special editions are going to be, when a Ubisoft game comes out.
Not necessarily, because they did. So in this article, they did highlight the Mamba edition that's coming out. That's going to feature Kobe Bryant on the cover, and that's still $100, and that's kind of been the going rate for the special edition for 2K for the last couple of years.
I think that this is either a ploy to get people to buy the special edition, mm-hmm. or the special editions are going to go up. I cannot see Ubisoft, who with every of their tentpole releases, every one of them has like 8 different editions. I can't see them not being $10 more for each iteration of said product. When Assassin's Creed Valhalla special edition will be $80, deluxe edition will be $90, and super hardcore, like I got a Viking helmet edition, will be like $130.
Right.
And it's just I don't know. It feels foul.
I feel like this also because again, anytime you raise anytime you raise the price point, rather, you're going to give more people pause sometimes over whether they need a game at launch or whether they can wait for stuff to go on sale. Now, something like Cyberpunk, for example, you're going to charge me $70 for that? I'm totally fine with that because it's a game that, easily just even beating the main campaign probably would take me 40 to 50 hours, to not even mention the side quests and stuff like that that's going on in there. But take like a God of War, for example, or a Ghost of Tsushima that's coming out soon, or like a Horizon, because Horizon will be a next generation game as well. I'd have a little bit more like those games that are like your 15 to 20 hour experiences. That's where you might lose some folks saying, do I need to pay $70 for this game right now, or can I wait 6 months and get it on sale for 40 or 45 or whatever the new step down price point is going to be for games in this generation?
Yeah.
So I think you can only hurt yourself in sales. It's one of those things that you have to balance the right price point over. You make it cheaper, you'll sell more. If you make it more expensive, you'll sell less. But where's the sweet spot that sales won't be as impacted by the price, and you can collect the maximum income? It's tough. It's tough. But like I said, if you want people to pay $70, you have to really have that incentive. And again, like we've been talking about, anything that has additional content that you can buy, optional or not, that's a tougher pill. Like 2K is still gonna be selling VC like it's going out of style, even though you're paying $70 for that game.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, you're right when you said it when you first started, is that this was inevitable. This is testing the waters, and pretty soon we'll complain about it for a while, and then we'll just accept it and everything will be status quo, right?
Michael Packer seems to think that there might actually be some pushback from the industry or from the consumer part of the industry.
Really?
And it might give them pause. Notice that 2K is the only people that have announced this so far, and it's for one game.
Yeah, it's a game that theoretically you can play for a very long time. So I don't know. I'm at the point now where it kind of is what it is. If I knew that my $10 was going to the people like making the game, then I wouldn't feel too bad about it. But
it's not the margin's going to be the same,
right?
On that as it is. They'll get more money by proxy of the fact that margin is based on percentage,
right?
But it's not going to be like, it's not like the $10 is going to go straight to the development team. Even like it's going to go to the publisher first and then whittle down from there. I don't know. Like I said, it is inevitable, but it still doesn't seem right. But we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't the last that we hear of this story. We talked briefly about this. This is, I think, one of the smartest ideas that anybody's ever done. I don't know why it's taken so long to figure it out. So the Xbox Summer Game Fest is an event that's happening from July 21st through 27th. This is in partnership with the Jeff Keighley Summer Game Fest, summer-long event that he's doing that's been very successful by any approximation. But basically, during this week, there will be a collection of over 60 demos that Xbox One players can play. And this isn't like a perfectly polished, vertical slice as a finalized demo would be. This is the, work in progress, alpha version, beta version kind of thing that you would see if you went to a trade show of some kind. Couple of the names that are listed here. You have Destroy All Humans, Haven, Chris Tales, Hellpoint, Skatebird, The Veil, Raji, and Welcome to Elk. There's going to be a lot more besides. I guess maybe the AAA factor is a little bit diminished here. Like, you're not getting any of the really big hitters. But I would think that something like this would be better tailored towards smaller games and indie games anyway.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is a brilliant way to get kind of give people that E3 feel, but from their couch, to get exposure for a lot of other games that might normally get swallowed up in the wake of the larger stuff that you'd see on a trade show floor. I think this is brilliant. For the first time in a very long time, it pays to own an Xbox for once instead of just having a PlayStation. What do you think about delivering demos to folks at home?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, with the technology that we have, like you said, I don't understand why this hasn't been done a while ago. This is plus for people who are interested in like game development, like to really see what a game looks like in like a work in progress state. This is cool, man. This is cool. I have to dust off the old Xbox, use it for something other than a media player.
And get that updated now, so you don't have to wait for it later. Then again, the updates are pretty fast on Xbox. I do have to. Couple acquisition news. There's one small one and then a much bigger one that we're going to spend more time on. So Sony is considering bidding on Leu, which is a company most notably who owns Digital Extremes, who is the developer for Warframe, one of the most popular free-to-play games on the market. The bigger deal, I think, is the rumor that came out a couple of days ago that Microsoft is considering getting into the bidding war for the WB Games division that AT&T appears to be interested in selling. Now, this would be quite a big acquisition if Microsoft were to get in and win this. Again, the price that is expected to fetch for the WB Games division is between $2 and $4 billion in order to acquire them. But to Microsoft, that's nothing. That's a rather insignificant amount of money when your company is worth $1 trillion or $3 trillion or however many $1 trillion they're worth. But again, you would be getting, Rocksteady. You'd be getting NetherRealm Studios. You'd be getting TT Games, who makes the Lego series. It would be pretty nuts for them to pick them up if they were to do such a thing.
Yeah, man. It would be wild, man. Play the Arkham series exclusively on Xbox.
Now, see, you say that. I think honest to God, I think there is a 0.0% chance that you would see like any of the DC Universe games, the Mortal Kombat series, the Injustice series, the Lego series. There is no way that they would exclusive gate those games to Xbox One.
Why else are you buying NetherRealm?
To make money.
To make a new. Well, I guess so. Yeah.
Like why would you cut yourself off from potentially 50% or more of the game buying audience?
Oh, well, that's why I don't run a company.
I mean, for fuck's sake, even MLB The Show is going, multi-platform next year.
Yeah, but sports are a little different, right? Like,
are they different than fighting games? Or
I mean, people like people who don't play, people who buy video games, people who enjoy video games buy the show, and people who buy one game a year who like baseball, like that's their game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I feel like sports are a little different animal. Like the sports are so broad,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whereas you're not gonna get my buddy from work to go buy a Batman game. You know what I mean? But he'll buy a basketball game. So I don't know. This is hey man, you want to make some money? That's okay with me. But I really want Microsoft to have like exclusives. You know what I mean? Like if I get this when I get this Series X, like I want to be able to. I don't know. I like having exclusives on multiple systems. It gives me justification for wasting my money.
I was gonna say it gives you it's the reason for buying the game console, because if there's no tangible exclusives, why the fuck would you buy a Series X and
exactly
not just a PS5?
Exactly. Like the Game Pass might be the best value when it comes to gaming, but that's for like people who don't mind waiting a year to play a game, and I can't do that. I'm not like what is I saw something that's coming on Game Pass recently,
mm-hmm.
and people were like, yo, I can't believe it, this is coming on Game Pass. And I'm like, yo, I beat that game 3 times over already. I just, I mean, that's great, that's great, but I'm just not that. And I mull over Game Pass because I'm like, do I really want to pick Game Pass up again? And I look at it.
You're a cult of the new guy.
Yeah, man. I just it's not for me. So but I would if like more exclusives were there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
More Gears 5, more stuff like that. More Gears Tactics. I don't know if Gears Tactics is on Xbox, but stuff like that is what would make me jump right back into Game Pass. But I don't know.
Like I said, I think if they do acquire them, it would be very interesting to see what happens. I still think that 2K makes way too much sense for them not to do it. And again, they have all the money in the world too, because Grand Theft Auto just prints money, and so does NBA 2K. So like, I don't think that they're suffering either for hard-earned cash. Quick follow-up to story we talked about last week briefly. Maxime Belland, who is a former creative director and editorial VP at Ubisoft Toronto, has resigned following sexual assault allegations that were published about him on social media. And then also apparently Tommy Francois, who is a VP of editorial and creative services, was placed on disciplinary leave pending the outcome of an investigation. The statement that Ubisoft put out about Belland made it sound like that he was just speeding up the inevitable. It seemed like they were probably going to be cutting him loose anyway. But yeah, so like I said, the accountability continues onward around the gaming industry, and that's good to see.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, I need people to stop. Like it's work, guys. It's work. You're not home. These people aren't your friends. They're your coworkers, yo. Like don't stop playing grab ass at work, guys. Like, I don't know.
Finally, in the news, just a delightful piece of information that I wasn't expecting to see come out. So there was a trailer that dropped today for Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. We talked about this. Me and Mike are both very excited for the re-release of this game. At least I am. Didn't you not play it? Actually,
I played a little bit of it.
Okay.
For some reason, I couldn't get into it, but I'm willing to give it a shot again.
Well, it's coming out September 8th this year. The trailer was not very good. Like, if you know nothing about Kingdoms of Amalur, that trailer is not a very good representation on how cool and fun the game is.
This trailer looked like one of those trailers that you see for like Raid Shadow Legends.
It looked very generic. I was disappointed in the trailer. However, it was all paid off at the end of the trailer when we saw announced that coming in January 2021 is a brand new expansion for the game that's called Fatesworn. So this is in addition to the other two expansions that originally released for Kingdoms of Amalur, but they're putting out brand new content. It's not clear if this is content that was already developed, that they just remastered, or if this is new content that they're making from scratch at THQ Nordic. But either way, this is really cool. I cannot recall a re-release of a game that I can remember that ever came with a brand new expansion for the game on its re-release. Pretty dope.
Yeah, this is cool, man. This is very cool. Yeah, I looked at this trailer and I'm like, I don't remember any of this, man.
No, the trailer was poor. The trailer was definitely poor.
Speaking of poor, you know who's not poor? Jeff Bezos. You know why he's not poor? Because you go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon for your Amazon purchases. When you go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases, you help keep Jeff Bezos rich, and you give us 4 cents on every dollar you spend. So buy often. I've been looking at camera lenses because I'm trying to get back into photography. And pro tip for all you amateur photogs out there, the money's not in the body of the camera, the money's in the lenses. And lenses are ridiculous. I'm looking and I'm like, oh, hey, here's this Australian guy telling me about lenses I should probably buy. He's recommended some lenses. Let me go ahead and see let me go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon and see what these lenses got. $1,500.
You should probably look at eBay for lenses. That's where I buy most of my camera lenses.
Well, that's what I'm having
on eBay, so it's a lot cheaper.
Goodness gracious, but we don't have an eBay link. We have an Amazon link. So go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your incredibly expensive camera lens purchasing needs.
So the top topics of the week, both suck. Just forewarning, they're both terrible because the world is terrible, and terrible things keep happening. So Last of Us 2, notable game. You might have heard of it. Small independent game from creator Naughty Dog, PlayStation. A lot of controversy.
Something about the Holocaust in that game.
Something like that. The Schindler's List of video games, it's been said. So it came out, and there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the game between Crunchy Naughty Dog, and again, the vice president Naughty Dog not running away from comparing it to Schindler's fucking List, which seems a little much. And we've talked about those controversies and given them the scorn that they deserve. However, what is not necessary by any stretch of the imagination is sending hateful messages to the voice actor who plays a character in this video game because the character that the voice actor voices did something that you didn't like. And that's what's happening to Laura Bailey. So Laura Bailey is the voice actor who plays the voice of Abby, one of the characters in The Last of Us 2. And we can't talk about the story without talking about spoilers. So if you don't want Last of Us 2 spoilers, I would skip ahead probably 10 minutes just to be safe, so that you don't have to miss the spoiler, or so you don't have to get spoiled. I will give you guys a couple seconds before we get into discussing this. And there you go. So in the game, the character Abby is kind of the antagonist for the first half of the game. And then she kills Joel, who is, of course, the playable character that you play as from the first Last of Us game. And then you have to play as Abby in the second half of the game. Like, that's one of the big twists in the game as well. And people were really pissed that she killed Joel. So pissed that Laura Bailey sent a screenshot of some messages that people sent it to her, saying things like, "I'm going to kill you because of what you did in Last of Us Part 2. I'm going to find where you live and slaughter you. I will stab you. I hope your parents die by hard cancer for killing this character." This is insane. Like, what? Like, if anyone has no responsibility for the actions of a character, it would be the voice actor. Like, they're literally just performing a part that was written by the game's writer for them. They're an actor. And yet somehow people are like, this actor who's playing a role of a fictional character did this thing that I don't like, and this is unacceptable, and I have to send threats of violence to this person to show them how upset that I am at the thing that their fake character that they lent their voice to did.
Twitter is the worst invention ever. It really is. Like, people don't need to access you like whenever. It's the worst. And the dregs of society use it and use it often. And I just, and this is just another example of that. Like, part of me is like, are these people like, do they have all their mental faculties? And I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm saying that, as like someone who is concerned about one, the actor, and two, like the people making these threats. Or are they just a bunch of, which is more likely, are they just a bunch of bro dog assholes who don't like women for some reason? This is gross, man. Like, it really is, dude. And I like, it's not like, it would be one thing if you didn't like her performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that as like, just want to say you should die. Fuck you, you ruined it. No, like, I don't know. My brain can't comprehend what to say, because I don't understand the mind of someone who
can't
do
separate
something.
Fact from fiction, or reality from fiction.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah. I don't get it, dude. Like, even if you don't like the game for any like, if you don't like the game for whatever reason, I don't feel the need to run up to someone and say, "Hey, you suck. Your game sucks." And like, I just move on. I chalk this up to a loss and move on. I'm not saying the game is bad or good. I haven't played it, but I never understood that mentality. I never understood the mentality of you know, going up to somebody, telling them straight up, I don't like your face, and then just going about my way. I just
Well, and here's the other thing. Like if a video game, and I'm gonna now steer into the Schindler's List area, which I don't want to be, but you know, if a video game can elicit that kind of emotional response from you, like where your knee-jerk reaction is to be devastated by this, right? By the actions of this character. Like, you should be praising the people that created it, that were able to elicit that response out of you. Like that means that they did a good job of telling their story, and getting you emotionally invested in what, by all accounts, is a shitty character. Like, Joel sucks. Like,
Joel fucking
about
stinks,
Joel's
dude.
shittiness from the first Last of Us game.
I hated Joel. That's part of the reason I didn't like that first game, man, is because I only liked what is her name? Ellie. She was the only, every adult in that game was a fucking asshole. And I get it. That's part of the story. But I had no one to root for. And it was Joel particularly, fuck that guy. And where's Joel gonna, like, Joel's ultimate end has to be him dying.
Right.
If you even think, if the story goes where I think it goes, it has to be him meeting a violent end. With all the violent ends that he is, like, it always comes around on you. Like, that's the point of this game. It's like The Walking Dead, right? Like, it's like they are the living people are the Walking Dead, right? Like, the point of this game is that, you know, there's a circle of violence and it just spirals out of control. What did you think was going to happen to Joel? That he's just going to go off into the sunset?
Age gracefully in apocalypse land, and
yeah, what? Like,
not have to face any consequence for the selfish actions that he made in the first game. No comeuppance at all. Because people have apparently never seen a movie before, ever.
Come on, man. It's not even, people don't think. People don't think. Just take a second to think about it. I know,
and it's insane. So like I said, like if you were that emotionally invested into that character, and so, to the point where his death traumatized you to where you felt the need to reach out to the person portraying the character that killed him, like, again, that's an achievement of the game to make you feel that way. But you don't actually hit send on the tweet, you moron. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? What the fuck is wrong with people? And apparently, like this, not apparently, this is nothing new. Like, this, you see the same thing, you know, done to movie actors and you know, other people that portray characters and things of that nature. But it's just uncalled for, man. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. And this is why we can't have nice things, because we have fucking idiots out there that force people to see this shit. And again, Laura Bailey's just doing her thing on Twitter. She's not trying to fucking, you know, she's not the subject of that,
right? She
shouldn't be. And Neil Druckmann also posted some messages that he got, which are even grosser, if that's possible.
Yeah, like all this anti-Semitic shit, man.
Right.
Like, come on, man, come on. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like,
and again, like, and it's all because people feel you see the same shit in a lot of other mediums where they have like a beloved fan base. Like, you see it in like the Star Wars movies and things of that nature, where people take this ownership of the product to the point where if the people creating the product make decisions that they don't like they fly off in this, like, oh, how fucking dare you, like, this belongs to us, this is bullshit. Like, I never understood the amount of vitriol that, like, George Lucas got, for example, for decisions that he made in the original or in the prequels, or, you know, going back and adding special features to the original trilogy. You don't have to like those things. Like, that's a valid response. But to, like, act with anger at George Lucas for doing it as if he's not fucking allowed to. He's the creator of Star Wars. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
It's not yours, yo.
Right.
It's not. It's not.
You are a consumer of the product. You are not the gatekeeper of it or the owner of it.
Right. You don't own the product, dude. Like, this trips me out, man. This trips me out. I see people aren't sending death threats to the body model of Abby because she'll fucking rip your head off. How about you send some hate mail that way, see what happens to you? Get out of here, man. People are gross, man. People are gross. Just a bunch of fucking John Hinckley's, man. Just a bunch of weird Jodie Foster stalking weirdos, dude. Grow up, man. Grow up.
So, but yeah, fucking wild, man. Don't be shitty. Don't be shitty. Like, I swear to God, Twitter should not be free.
No, it shouldn't. Yeah, you're right. It could exist. Monetize it.
You'd weed out a lot of the fucking idiots if you charge people $5 a month to be on that fucking platform. I guarantee. Oh, that and like I said, the news just keeps getting shittier. So EVO Online, the replacement this year for EVO because of the COVID-19 process, is canceled. And the reason it's canceled is because Joey Cuellar, who was the organizer and CEO of EVO, had some sexual abuse allegations made against him that seem pretty credible, and EVO is now working to separate him completely from the company at this point. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we could say that he did it because he came out and apologized.
Right. And here's arguably the bigger, like, sexual abuse allegations, pretty bad in general. Also bad when the abuse occurs by someone who was under the age of 18. That's
you're a pedophile, dude. You're a pedophile. And that's the word that I love to call white people when they want to call black people the N-word. Call them a pedophile right back, because nobody wants to be a pedophile, dude. Nobody. And this dude is... So basically, pretty much everybody pulled out, right? Capcom, NetherRealm, Bandai Namco, they all rolled out as soon as they heard this. Mm-hmm. And because of that, like, nobody wants to touch this. So here's my question. Something like this mm-hmm. is, this isn't a minor controversy.
No.
This is something very serious. This is something with the law could get involved in this. Mm-hmm. Is EVO done? Like, does EVO come back from
the name EVO? Is the name EVO done? Yes. If they want to continue this tournament, it is going to have to be rebranded, because I feel like that something like this, when you have someone that is in that prominent of a position, that has these allegations against them, it's very difficult to separate it from the brand, you know what I mean, at that point. So yes, I think that given what has happened, if you want to continue EVO, it's going to have to be called something else than EVO. Now, you can have the same organization if they're able to cut ties with this dude completely and get him out of the mix. You can keep the organization and you can keep the infrastructure in place, but it's not going to be called EVO Championship Series anymore. It's going to be called something else.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Not wild, it's gross. And the fighting game community is a weird community, because it is like part of the game is like a bunch of trash talk and getting under people's skin while they're playing and stuff like that. Like, it's very like mentally abusive to try and rattle people. But at the same time, like, that community tends to come together and stick up for one another, especially regarding, like, there are a couple outliers, but if you're good, you're good. Mm-hmm. And people generally don't tolerate like racism and harassment and shit like that, at least in my experience. I haven't been to too many tournaments, and the ones that I've been to, they were like local. So, mm-hmm. It was all good. It was all love. But this is, so it's a weird dichotomy, right? Like, it's a bunch of it's like sports, like, it's a bunch of trash talk, but then, everybody at the end shakes each other's hand, like, and they give each other a hug, or they, wave from 6 feet away because we can't touch anybody anymore. But I don't know. I forgot where I was going with this, but this is gross, man. This is gross, and now that you've mentioned it, yeah, I kind of agree with you that the tournament doesn't have to go away, because that was something I actually really look forward to in July, every summer.
Mm.
But yeah, man, this is, and they've come such a long way too, man. like
Well,
like they're
they have, but yet it sure does seem like every 5 or 6 months or so, there's always a story popping up about someone in the FGC being fucking shitty or racist
I'm
or
talking about Evo itself. The
oh,
people,
yes, the Evo tournament absolutely has
yes,
come such a long way. I mean, like if you go back and like, still the most famous clip is the Justin Wong, Daigo, blocking
the Perry.
combo, right? And like that was done in like a conference room ballroom where like on a projector screen basically, and they've gone from that to being inside of the MGM Grand Arena, like on a fucking stage with giant monitors everywhere, like being broadcast on ESPN. So yeah, it's come a enormously long way that from where it started, from humble beginnings. But like you were saying, and like I was kind of alluding to, it's going to be difficult for the FGC to really continue moving forward if you can't stamp out the idiocy that happens it's every 4, 5, 6 months. Someone from the FGC that's notable pops up and said something racist, or said something homophobic, or said something transphobic, or now with these assault allegations coming out against folks, like it's always something every once in a while. And I feel like that when you have those people popping up constantly in your community, it's going to hamper your community's ability to grow, because especially when it's top players, it's not like usually when these stories come out, it's not like it's people that you've never heard of before. They're typically names that even people like me who follow the FGC very casually have at least heard their name in passing before in most cases. And that sucks. Like, and that sucks for everyone else in that community who is a good person, who does keep their nose clean, who doesn't say stupid shit, that's just trying to build that community up. I mean, I was talking with Johnny, and Nintendo has also kind of basically washed their hands with the Smash community at this point, because the Smash community is like the Mos Eisley of the FGC. It's a fucking wretched hive of scum and villainy, and you wouldn't think that it would be for Smash Brothers of all games,
Right? Where
but
pink puffballs and green dinosaurs are fighting each other.
But for some reason, it has like the most toxic fan base of any game in the FGC, in the fighting game universe. So, like I said, it's good that Evo is trying to distance themselves, and quickly, from this dude. But this is gonna set them back, man. And I don't know what Evo looks like next year, and that's assuming that we're fully past the COVID situation. Like, that's assuming that that's still not going to be a factor, which we don't know at this point. So it sucks, but it's that, unfortunately, my 2% theory continues to reign supreme, where if 2% of the general population are pieces of shit, then 2% of any subgroup of the general population are also going to be pieces of shit. And it's kind of hard to avoid that sometimes.
Yeah. And it's the whole bad apple analogy, right?
Yeah.
And it fucking sucks, man.
Yep. So we go to the post office. And piggybacking on this, the first comment is from Johnny. He said, "Not a question, but I really hope that this recent wake-up call in the FGC builds for a better tomorrow, because it's at its worst right now. It's at its lowest point." And again, yes, like this is definitely the lowest of low points, but it's not like it's the first one that we've come across.
Yeah.
Malcolm. Now Malcolm is also talking about the FGC, and this is a sentence that is in English, but I don't understand. It's in a language that I don't understand, so perhaps you could translate. I'm going to read Malcolm's sentence verbatim. "So Mr. Wizard, huh? Can't say I'm shocked at him or really anyone else who was outed. Seeing some of those guys, they gave me bad vibes when I'd go to tournaments. Should Combo Breaker be the standard for how an event should be run? I would say CEO, but Jabali was kind of an ass to be at DreamHack 2 years ago."
Mr. Wizard is the pedophile in question.
Oh, okay, there you go. I didn't know his nickname.
Yeah, that's the only name I knew him by. And I think the other person runs Combo Breaker, but I'm not up on Combo Break. I'm not up on I watch this stuff casually as well. I know a few names, but I'd have to look and see faces and stuff like that. I follow very specific people because, like you said, like too many people. Like I follow people who take this stuff seriously and treat it with the professionalism that I think it deserves, right?
Mm.
But I don't just follow. I don't just keep up with just anybody. But yeah, and can't say I'm shocked. Yeah, I mean, nothing surprises me now. Whatever, man. I'm looking out my window waiting to see a pig flying. Who cares? It's 2020. Nothing surprises me now. Sucks.
Cam says, the fuck is WWE doing having a match between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio where the stipulation is the loser has one of their eyeballs ripped from their goddamn head?
I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
So as the feud goes, Seth Rollins is playing this like Messiah type of character where
he's playing like
save the WWE from itself.
Yeah,
essentially. And he a couple months back, after a match with Rey Mysterio, he like shoved Rey Mysterio's eye into the corner of one of the ring steps, basically. So now they're selling like Rey Mysterio as having this eye injury, like he's wearing a patch underneath his mask and all this other bullshit. And so now that he's back and like his son's getting involved and all this other shit, the stipulation that Rey Mysterio chose for their match at Extreme Rules in a couple weeks is an eye for an eye match, where the winner of the match is the person who can rip the eye out of the socket of the other person's head. I have no idea what corner, how they're going to back themselves out of this corner.
So if Rey Mysterio loses, he's blind?
Yes.
Shut up, yo. Shut up. I really hope that this is all just an elaborate ruse, just a roundabout reason to get Rey Mysterio to wear a Deathstroke the Terminator outfit, because Deathstroke has like a half mask,
right?
And one of the masks doesn't have an eye because he has an eye patch. It looks badass, right? This is dumb. Like, even for wrestling, this is dumb. Like, I could take the stupid wedding and all that stuff. I could put up with that. Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know what, though? I kind of want to see how it plays out. I kind of want to watch it now.
I imagine the match is going to be just a standoff between the two. They're going to fight a little bit, and then, like, Rey Mysterio is going to, like, Black Mamba fucking Seth Rollins' eye right out of his fucking head. That's gonna be what fucking happens. Oh, fucking insane. But it's wrestling. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What a wild show Extreme Rules is shaping up to be. By the way, since there's no other wrestling questions in this week, if you're not watching, and you can watch all three shows because they're popping up on all three since they're the tag team champs. Bailey and Sasha are doing some A+ quality healing. In the game right now. They're being really, really good. It's really entertaining.
All right.
Their thing. And again, because under the surface is the tension that they're going to break up soon, and it's probably going to be Sasha that turns face, and Bailey's going to probably remain the heel most likely in this scenario. You would not think that she'd be an excellent heel, but she's been very, very good actually.
Oh, all right.
So, it's been quite entertaining. Actually, there was one more wrestling question. Henry asked your thoughts on the new U.S. Championship. Mike will have to Google this because I'm sure he hasn't seen it yet. I've been trying not to have negative knee-jerk reactions to these things when I see them. I don't care for the new Intercontinental title, for example. I think it's really bad. When it comes to wrestling belts, I'm much more of a traditionalist. I like the designs of the old belts best. For me, the best U.S. title is still the WCW version of the U.S. title. I don't know why WWE ever... Well, I know why they got away from it, but I don't feel they should have. This is a little too TNA for my liking this U.S. Championship.
Yeah, you can tell. Like you could tell the people that design these belts. They're not going to people who design belts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to artists,
Mm-hmm.
and this is some artist's interpretation of what some artist who is probably not into this stuff, right? Not into like combat sports or wrestling or whatever. And because I first thing I see, a bit of an eyesore, the big ass champion
Right.
right there. Like, I get it. The person holding the belt is the champ. I don't need the title of like I am the champion like to be emblazoned on there. Honestly, it looks like something that they want to give to Donald Trump. Like, and I'm not trying to like shit on Donald Trump at this very moment. It seems like something that was made to give to Trump, right? Like, it's a little too much gold. I can't believe I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
but I I just want a title belt that looks like a title belt, right? Like I don't need big logos and stuff all emblazoned over it. Like
Well, see,
just
what's funny is that you say that, but I think that they achieved perfection when they designed the new world championships, basically, like the design that their top titles use.
I don't like it.
You don't like it that much? See, I know it's got the big logo on the front, but it's also quite understated, and I also enjoy the customization of having the side plates.
I like the plates.
Depending on who holds the championship.
I like the plates, but the big branding just makes it look like a toy to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wrestling. Of course it's a toy, right? But it just doesn't I don't know. These new belts don't really do it for me. But I'm an old man. A big Goldie is still my favorite belt because it looks awesome, right? And I'm old, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. It's not the worst belt. Like you said, the Intercontinental belt is bad, and the 24/7 belt is a joke.
But that title is not a serious title either. It's a story device.
For sure.
And you can make the argument that all titles are story devices, but the 24/7 title, more than most, is just
right. But I feel like the 24, like the hardcore belt was a joke belt, and they kind of knew it. That's why it looked like garbage because it was a garbage belt. Like this is, I don't know. It just isn't. I don't know. I don't hate this though.
Too long to read. Mike and I are old, and we are curmudgeonly. That is the that is the answer to that question. Anthony says, "What is a tool from a game that you'd like to see brought into reality for mainstream use, and why? Not necessarily like a magic tool, but more tech-driven."
Either a portal gun
Mm-hmm.
or the magic phone from Watch Dogs, the phone that can literally hack into anything.
I feel like a portal gun is the correct answer. There's so much utility that a teleportation device could have, and it's handheld, and it would be pretty fucking cool to be able to teleport places.
Yeah.
So
even if it's only places that you can shoot through, with the gun. Like if I want to go downstairs,
mm-hmm.
I don't have to walk downstairs and just bam, shoot the gun.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to put it at work because remember you can see through the portal like wherever it leads to. So like you don't want people at work to be able to like see inside your house. Like that's not an ideal situation. But yeah, portal gun I feel like is the definitively correct answer. I don't know what else you would say. Because it's not like you can be like, oh, Pip-Boy, like we have cell phones, like
right,
it's significantly better.
Right. This is a Pip-Boy right here.
It's a fraction of the size. Oh my goodness. Gregory says, "Do you miss the mass midnight game and console releases? Those were so much fun until online gaming left to change." No, I don't miss having to be up until 2:00 a.m. to get a new video game because again, I'm old. I don't even like having to wait till midnight to play a game that's
I
downloaded
know.
on my system.
I know. It
Like, why
sucks,
can't they
man.
just make them release noon? Like, wouldn't that be better at this point? Why does it have to be midnight? Why can't it just be fucking noon o'clock Eastern?
Now,
On
when they do that, does it unlock for West Coast people at
no,
9?
it's midnight local.
Is midnight local? Okay.
Midnight local. So, and you can't. It's not like you can set the time on your system to cheat it. Like
Right.
it's internet based. So like you can't. Like it's yeah, you're fucking stuck. And that's the other thing too. Like we used to back before I left GameStop, most companies let us release the games, the hard copies, at 9 p.m. because online shit wouldn't even really be enabled until midnight anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss midnight launches at all. I can still vivid and before GameStop streamlined them, like by the time I got to GameStop, they basically had the midnight launch process figured out so that it was streamlined, so that you did your payment before midnight, and then that way at midnight you were handed a video game and you were on your fucking way. I remember back when I was a GameStop customer, literally like back in the day, Madden '05, I want to say, I was in line and they didn't start ringing up people until midnight. And I remember buying my copy from the Owings Mills GameStop, which was a popular GameStop at the time. I wasn't out of there till 1:30 in the fucking morning,
Nah,
waiting
man.
for my copy of fucking Madden. So no, I never want to go back to those days.
No, I
Never
really
again.
don't, man.
Never
I,
Here's an interesting question. Robin asks, "What video game sequel disappointed you the most?"
um,
Because typically in the game world, sequels tend to get better as time goes along.
yeah, but then you got like I'm looking at a list of things. While Dragon Age 2 is not a disappointment,
Mm-hmm.
it is a disappointment, relatively speaking. Um, Devil May Cry 2 is not good. This person has Uncharted 3. Again, that's relative.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Dark 0. I don't know what that was. Like they turned the super spy, like this classy super spy, into like a YouTube star, like a YouTuber. She's got highlights and yeah, it's just God, I miss old Perfect Dark, man. They had a laptop that doubled as a turret. Who doesn't want that? KOTOR 2, a tad disappointing, but again, that's relative. Like I still like that game. Yeah, I'm not seeing too many that Mass Effect 3. No, I don't agree with Mass Effect 3. I like Mass Effect 3. BioShock 2, yeah, I agree with that. BioShock 2 wasn't as good as the first BioShock.
I'm trying to find stuff that actually like connected with me in some way. So like for me, Call of Duty 4 was my first Call of Duty game. And World at War was a huge letdown, even though World at War, not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it didn't have the same magic to me as Call of Duty did for sure. So I think that's definitely in the mix in terms of from my thoughts. I'm also flipping through games here just to see if anything's popping to mind. Mario 2 could qualify there, but I was too young to have that really impact me at the time. Oh, there you go. Force Unleashed 2 is one that a lot of folks would throw out there, but I also don't think that Force Unleashed was a very good game to begin with. So,
yeah.
Arkham Knight for me, I really did not care for Arkham Knight at all, and I thought that Arkham City is where that franchise peaked for sure. Arkham Knight just had too much bullshit in it.
Yeah, especially like not, and it's not just like the tank stuff. You know what I mean? Like there was just a lot of nonsense. It was bloated, and yeah, it just wasn't as good. Yeah, there are a few. There are quite a few. actually. Crackdown 2. Guess what? Crackdown 1 wasn't that great.
So Trey asks, thoughts on how the modern day Houdini Randy Pitchford of all people have not had an allegation come out about them recently. Now here's the thing about Randy Pitchford.
It's because he makes people disappear.
Yeah. So Randy Pitchford seems like your garden variety like douchebag. But just because you're a douchebag doesn't necessarily mean that you've bordered on criminal behavior. Like Randy Pitchford might be kind of a dick, but he very much might not have ever sexually assaulted anybody or made inappropriate comments to anybody. Because maybe on that level, he's not a bad person. That's probably why. Because you'd think if there was something out there that it would have surfaced at this point.
Oh yeah, it probably would have been on that drive that he left at that bar with that porn on it.
So yeah, like I said, Randy Pitchford is your garden variety douche. Who is it's fine. Like I said, you don't have to like him, but at least he's not doing worse stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope he's not doing anything, not because I care about Randy Pitchford, but because I care about victims. But if he does, you better believe we're going to spend 10 minutes on it.
Oh, we should be laughing about that. Leonardo says, your significant other has been kidnapped. You're on a mission, brawling in the streets of rage, perhaps, trying to get to the main boss and rescue your beloved. But suddenly, you're low on health and stamina. You need sustenance, but none is available. You split, I'm assuming he's trying to say split an old-timey metal trash can. They're just called trash cans, Leonardo. Metal trash cans still do exist today. You quickly kick and punch it over to reveal its contents, mainly trash, but in the center, a perfectly cooked and still warm large turkey leg. Do you eat it?
This might be the funniest question I've ever seen.
So, what's a worse place to find food in the trash can that Leonardo is talking about, or in Castlevania where you literally find it inside of a wall that you destroy in order to come across it?
I mean, the wall has to be worse, right? Like that was so bad. Like they tried to get rid of it, like hiding a body. You know what I mean? Whereas someone probably like made that turkey leg and just was kind of disappointed with it. You know what I mean? So they were just like, let me just place this down here, especially if it's still warm. Like, of course I'm gonna eat that turkey leg. Why not? You know what I mean? But
I'm trying to think what other insane devices food has been found in video game history. You generally have to go back to the 8 and 16-bit era.
Yeah.
Like in the Turtles arcade game, like there's pizza boxes just laying on the street. Like that's just where that's
that I don't know about that. Like that's just pizza? Yeah, no, because rats eat that pizza, right? Like they like that, but that's carry out for them. You know what I mean? So I don't, if I see a warm piece of pizza on the ground or a big turkey leg that I knocked out of a trash can, I'm probably going to go with the turkey leg over the pizza.
There you go. The definitive answer. But again, just, I don't know where else you plan to find your food. Just find a nice health tonic to get you by. That's what we'll do. We end with Gustavo, which asks simply, which video game character has big dick energy? Mike.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
He really does. Like he does have attitude. He ain't here for your shit. Like he doesn't have time to wait.
Right. He's just like, yo, I gotta go fast, man. Like, come on, man. Let's fucking do this.
I can tell you, Duke Nukem does not have big dick energy.
Nope.
Duke Nukem has little dick energy.
Yeah, Duke Nukem is the complete antithesis of big dick energy.
I don't know. Like I said, that's a tough call. There's probably several characters that you could.
Who's the dude from? He's a Destiny vendor. The Crucible Destiny vendor.
Oh, Shaxx. Yeah, Shaxx got on TV.
Yeah, Shaxx fuck you up, yo. He's a badass man.
We're contemplating getting another cat soon because I guess it's been long enough for my wife from our old cat who passed going on 10 months ago. Now,
oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Was that Ovi?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Didn't I tell you at the time?
You might have, but you said cat, and I was just like tuned out.
I'm gonna suggest Shaq as a possible name when we.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll see. If the cat, if we end up finding like a one-eared cat, I don't think there's any dispute that's. But yeah, so that is it for the post office. Thank you guys very much for those of you that submitted questions this week, and that is it for the podcast. So again, if you want to submit questions to the Dense Pixels post office, all you have to do is join our fan group on Facebook at densepixels.com/fans. Subscribe to this show and all of the other TNP shows wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/densepixels. Click the like button, click subscribe, ring the bell icon. Since Micah does not know what YouTubers are supposed to do on there. And then while you're on the internet doing your browsing and your web surfing, go over to Twitch, hit up Apparition 410, that's Terrence, hit up Carrie, that's Something's Carrie, subscribe to them as well. And you can subscribe to the Dense Pixels account while you're there as well, if you want. We don't do much with it, but you can always subscribe. Yeah, they paid the virtual bills. There you go. That's it for this week. Thank you all very much for watching this, and we'll see you all.
See you.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.